The Whispering Woods. Part 1. The Lost Hikers. In the heart of the dense forest lies a place seldom visited by humans. Its name is whispered in hushed tones among locals, a place known as the Whispering Woods. Legends tell of its sinister secrets, tales that send shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. But like moths drawn to a flame, some are inexplicably drawn to explore its depths, lured by the mystery that shrouds its ancient trees. It was a crisp autumn morning when 4 friends, Sarah, Mark, Emily, and Jake, decided to embark on a hiking trip through the Whispering Woods. Armed with backpacks filled with supplies and a sense of adventure, they set off into the unknown, ignorant of the horrors that awaited them. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the trees seemed to close in around them, casting eerie shadows that danced in the dappled sunlight. The air grew colder, and a feeling of unease settled over the group like a thick fog. Sarah, the group's self-proclaimed leader, forged ahead, her eyes fixed on the path ahead. But soon, the trail began to twist and turn, leading them deeper into the heart of the woods until they were hopelessly lost. Panic crept into their hearts as realization dawned upon them that they were wandering aimlessly in the vast expanse of the Whispering Woods. Desperate to find their way back, they called out to each other, their voices swallowed by the oppressive silence of the forest. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and gold, the forest came alive with strange noises. Whispering voices seemed to emanate from the very trees themselves, taunting the lost hikers with promises of salvation and damnation. Exhausted and frightened, the group stumbled upon a clearing, the ground littered with ancient tombstones half hidden beneath the undergrowth. A sense of dread washed over them as they realized they had stumbled upon an abandoned cemetery, forgotten by time and civilization. With trembling hands, they pitched their tents among the graves, seeking refuge from the encroaching darkness. But as night fell and the full moon cast its ghostly light upon the forest, they would soon discover that they were not alone in the Whispering Woods. Unknown to them, something sinister lurked in the shadows, watching their every move with malevolent intent. And as the night wore on, the true horror of their situation would slowly reveal itself, plunging them into a nightmare from which there would be no escape. Part 2. The Haunting. As the night deepened, an eerie chill settled over the campsite, sending shivers down the spines of the lost hikers. Sarah, Mark, Emily, and Jake huddled together in their tents, their hearts pounding with fear as strange whispers echoed through the darkness. Outside, the forest seemed to come alive with unseen horrors, the rustling of leaves and snapping of twigs filling the air with an otherworldly cacophony. Shadows danced in the moonlight, twisting and contorting into grotesque shapes that seemed to leer at the terrified campers. Unable to shake the feeling of being watched, Sarah ventured outside her tent, her flashlight cutting through the inky blackness like a beacon of hope. But what she saw froze her blood in her veins, a figure standing among the trees, its eyes gleaming with a malevolent light. Heart-pounding, Sarah called out to her friends, her voice trembling with fear. But when they emerged from their tents, the figure was gone, disappearing into the depths of the forest like a phantom. With nerves frayed and paranoia setting in, the group decided to barricade themselves inside their tents, hoping to ward off whatever sinister presence lurked outside. But sleep eluded them, each passing moment fraught with terror as the whispers grew louder and more insistent. As the hours dragged on, the boundary between dreams and reality began to blur, and the lost hikers found themselves trapped in a waking nightmare. Shadows writhed and twisted around them, whispering dark secrets and terrible truths that threatened to drive them to the brink of madness. In the cold light of dawn, the group emerged from their tents, their faces pale and drawn from a night spent in the clutches of fear. But their ordeal was far from over, for they soon discovered that they were not the only ones trapped in the Whispering Woods. Among the tombstones of the forgotten cemetery, they found evidence of past visitors, tattered backpacks, discarded camping gear, and bones bleached white by the passage of time. It was a grim reminder of the forest's dark history, a place where countless souls had met their untimely end. Determined to escape the clutches of the Whispering Woods, the lost hikers pressed on, their resolve hardened by the horrors they had witnessed. But little did they know that they were merely pawns in a much larger game, and that the true terror of the forest had yet to reveal itself. Part 3. The Unseen Force. As the lost hikers ventured deeper into the Whispering Woods, the forest seemed to tighten its grip around them like a vice. Every step forward felt like a step deeper into the clutches of an unseen force, a malevolent presence that toyed with their senses and preyed upon their fears. The whispers grew louder, morphing into guttural chants that echoed through the trees, promising unspeakable horrors to those who dared to trespass in the domain of the forest. Sarah, Mark, Emily, and Jake clung to each other for comfort, their nerves stretched to the breaking point as they struggled to make sense of the nightmare unfolding around them. With every passing moment, the forest seemed to warp and twist, its once familiar landmarks becoming distorted and unrecognizable. The trees themselves seemed to leer at the lost hikers with twisted, gnarled branches, their leaves rustling with sinister intent. In the midst of their terror, Sarah stumbled upon an ancient ruin hidden deep within the heart of the forest, a dilapidated mansion overrun by vines and moss, its windows shattered and its walls crumbling into decay. It was a haunting reminder of a time long forgotten, a relic of a bygone era steeped in darkness and despair. Against their better judgment, the group ventured inside the mansion, their footsteps echoing through its empty halls like whispers of the past. But as they explored its shadowy corridors, they soon realized that they were not alone. Strange apparitions flitted through the darkness, their forms twisted and contorted into grotesque shapes that sent shivers down the spines of the lost hikers. Eyes wide with terror, they pressed on, driven by a desperate need to escape the clutches of the forest that seemed to hold them captive. But the mansion held secrets of its own, secrets that would soon come to light in the most horrifying of ways. As night fell and the forest outside echoed with the howls of unseen creatures, the lost hikers found themselves ensnared in a web of deception and betrayal, their fates intertwined with forces beyond their comprehension. For in the whispering woods, nothing was as it seemed, and even the most innocent of intentions could lead to unspeakable consequences. And as the night wore on and the darkness closed in around them, the true horror of their situation would slowly reveal itself, plunging them into a nightmare from which there would be no escape. Part 4, The Mansion's Dark Secret. As Sarah, Mark, Emily, and Jake delved deeper into the dilapidated mansion within the whispering woods, the air grew heavy with the weight of centuries-old secrets. Each creaking floorboard and crumbling wall seemed to whisper of the darkness that had once consumed the place, and the lost hikers could feel its malevolent presence closing in around them. The mansion's halls were like a labyrinth, twisting and turning in on themselves, leading the group deeper into its shadowy depths. But as they explored further, they began to uncover clues to the mansion's dark past, cryptic symbols etched into the walls, faded portraits of long-dead residents, and forgotten artifacts that spoke of unspeakable rituals conducted in the dead of night. Driven by a morbid curiosity, the group pressed on, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls like a funeral dirge. But with each passing moment, the mansion seemed to come alive with a malevolent energy, its walls closing in around them like the jaws of a trap. As they reached the heart of the mansion, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber concealed behind a crumbling tapestry, a chamber shrouded in darkness and dripping with the stench of decay. Reluctantly, they ventured inside, their hearts pounding with fear as they uncovered the mansion's most horrifying secret. In the center of the chamber stood an ancient altar, its surface stained with dried blood and surrounded by flickering candlelight. A sense of dread washed over the lost hikers as they realized the true purpose of the chamber, a place of sacrifice, where unspeakable rituals had been conducted in the name of dark and twisted gods. But before they could flee, a sudden noise echoed through the chamber, a guttural growl that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. And then, from the shadows emerged a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes glowing with an unholy light. Paralyzed with fear, the lost hikers watched in horror as the figure approached, its form shifting and contorting with each step. And as it drew closer, they realized with growing dread that they were not facing a mere mortal, but something far more sinister, a creature of the darkness, bound to the mansion by ancient and malevolent forces. With nowhere left to run, the lost hikers braced themselves for the horrors that awaited them, their screams echoing through the empty halls of the mansion as they faced the true terror of the whispering woods. And as the darkness closed in around them, they knew that their nightmare was far from over, and that the forest held many more secrets yet to be revealed. Part 5, The Pact. Trapped within the confines of the sinister mansion, Sarah, Mark, Emily, and Jake faced the looming specter with a mixture of dread and desperation. The creature's unearthly presence seemed to fill the chamber, suffocating them with its malevolent aura. As the creature drew closer, its form shifting and contorting with every step, Sarah's mind raced with thoughts of escape. But with each passing moment, the realization sank in that they were hopelessly outmatched, caught in the grip of forces far beyond their comprehension. With a voice like gravel scraping against stone, the creature spoke, its words echoing through the chamber like a death knell. It spoke of ancient pacts and forbidden rituals, of blood sacrifices and dark promises made in the dead of night. Frozen in terror, the lost hikers listened as the creature offered them a choice: submit to its will and become servants of the darkness, or face a fate worse than death. Forged in the fires of fear and desperation, they made a pact with the creature, sealing their fate with blood and binding themselves to its sinister agenda. But as the creature vanished back into the shadows, leaving them alone in the darkness, Sarah knew that they had made a deal with the devil himself. With a heavy heart, she led her friends deeper into the mansion, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls as they resigned themselves to their grim fate. As they explored the mansion's labyrinthine corridors, they stumbled upon more clues to its dark past, tomes of forbidden knowledge, arcane artifacts, and relics of a time long forgotten. Each discovery served as a grim reminder of the horrors that had transpired within its walls, fueling their growing sense of unease. But despite the overwhelming sense of dread that hung over them like a shroud, the lost hikers pressed on, driven by a desperate need to uncover the truth behind the mansion's sinister secrets. Little did they know that their journey would lead them down a path from which there would be no return, and that the true horror of the Whispering Woods had yet to reveal itself in its entirety. Part 6, The Betrayal. As Sarah, Mark, Emily, and Jake delved deeper into the depths of the mansion, their minds clouded with fear and uncertainty. They felt the weight of their pact with the sinister creature pressing down upon them like a leaden shackle. Each step they took seemed to bring them closer to the edge of madness, their senses dulled by the overwhelming darkness that surrounded them. But amidst the shadows and whispers, a sense of unease began to simmer within the group. Doubt crept into their minds like a venomous serpent, poisoning their thoughts and sowing seeds of discord among them. Sarah, burdened by the weight of leadership, felt the weight of responsibility crushing down upon her shoulders. Her every decision was scrutinized, her every action questioned, and she began to doubt her ability to lead her friends to safety. Mark, consumed by paranoia, grew increasingly suspicious of his companions, his mind haunted by visions of betrayal and deceit. He watched them with narrowed eyes, his fingers itching for the comforting weight of his pocket knife. Emily, racked with guilt, found herself haunted by the memory of their pact with the creature. She wondered if they had made a grave mistake, if they had condemned themselves to a fate worse than death in their desperation to escape the clutches of the Whispering Woods. And Jake, the silent observer, felt a growing sense of unease gnawing at his insides. He watched his friends with a wary eye, his instincts screaming at him to beware of the darkness that lurked within their midst. As tensions reached a boiling point, whispers of betrayal echoed through the mansion's empty halls, tearing at the fragile bonds that held the group together. Accusations flew like daggers, each word sharper than the last, until the air crackled with animosity and distrust. In the end, it was betrayal that sealed their fate. In a moment of weakness, one of the lost hikers succumbed to the darkness that lurked within their hearts, striking a fatal blow that shattered the fragile alliance they had forged. And as the blood of their fallen comrade stained the floor of the mansion's ancient halls, the remaining survivors realized with horror that they were now truly alone in the heart of the Whispering Woods, at the mercy of forces far beyond their control. Part 7, The Final Confrontation. With their once unbreakable bond shattered by betrayal, the remaining survivors, Sarah, Mark, and Emily, found themselves plunged into a desperate struggle for survival within the depths of the mansion. Each shadow seemed to harbor unseen threats, and every creak of the decaying floorboards sent shivers down their spines. As they navigated the labyrinthine corridors, haunted by the echoes of their fallen comrades' betrayal, they knew that their only hope lay in uncovering the mansion's darkest secrets and finding a way to break free from the clutches of the Whispering Woods. Driven by a fierce determination to survive, the trio pressed on, their senses heightened by the ever-present threat of danger lurking around every corner. But as they delved deeper into the heart of the mansion, they soon realized that they were not the only ones seeking escape from its sinister grasp. Unseen forces stirred within the shadows, their presence palpable as they closed in around the survivors with predatory intent. The whispers grew louder, their words twisting and contorting into mocking laughter that echoed through the empty halls. With nowhere left to run and their backs against the wall, Sarah, Mark, and Emily prepared for the final confrontation, steeling themselves for whatever horrors awaited them in the darkness. They knew that they would have to face their fears head-on if they were to have any hope of escaping the forest's malevolent grip. And so, with hearts pounding and adrenaline coursing through their veins, they braced themselves for the battle ahead, ready to fight tooth and nail for their freedom. For in the Whispering Woods, where shadows danced and whispers echoed through the night, only the strongest would survive to see the light of day once more. As the final showdown unfolded, the mansion shook with the echoes of their struggle, the very foundations trembling beneath the weight of their desperation. And in the end, as dawn broke over the horizon and the forest fell silent once more, only one of the survivors emerged from the darkness, battered but unbroken, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable horror. But as they stumbled out of the Whispering Woods, their mind haunted by the memories of their ordeal, they knew that they would never truly be free from the darkness that lurked within its depths. For the Whispering Woods held many secrets, and its sinister embrace would forever linger in the shadows, waiting to ensnare unwary travelers in its malevolent grasp once more.